questions that I come up at all, and I make sure so, and I also make sure that they're gonna be a little bit challenging, so that we can have like a real interview for you guys. All right, let's get started. Let's begin.
Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Michael.
Hi, Michael. My name is Wayne. How's your day going?
Pretty good. Actually, this is my first time flying out here, so pretty excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're really excited to have you here, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation to the interview.
No, thank you for the invite.
So how's your day going? So how's everything?
It's been good. Busy week. Have a lot of tests, but I did well, so excited to possibly do well on this interview as well.
That's really awesome. So your resume is really impressive, and we're really impressed with you as a candidate. So without any further ado, let's kick start an interview. So first of all, we're gonna have two parts of the interview. We have the behavioral questions, and we also have the technical questions. And let's dive in with the first one. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Michael Ojo. I'm a senior studying electrical engineering here at UH. Over the past couple of years, I've had a number of internships that have really kind of shaped where I want to go in my career. I've started off doing traditional electrical engineering work as a reliability or controls engineer at General Motors at an automobile plant, and more recently as a instrumentation and electrical engineer with Marathon Petroleum. After that, I kind of moved more towards commercial things where I did global supply chain work at ExxonMobil. So if you've been to Walmart and you've seen like the Mobil 1 lubricant, I actually worked on the team that produced that product, which is pretty cool. And most recently, I interned with Facebook as a manufacturing operations program manager intern. So I work with quality engineers to, I guess, improve processes within the different teams. But aside from my professional experience, one thing I'm really passionate about in NSBE, and that's the National Society of Black Engineers. Over the past years, I've been an officer, had different positions, but I think one of the most important things is that I'm a mentor, and I've realized that I love helping people become successful more than I do my own success. So looking for a company, I'm really looking for somebody that really has that same value as far as mentorship, and I've heard a lot of great things about Microsoft company culture, so really excited to be here interviewing with you today.
All right, very impressive. Thank you very much. So we do have your resume here. It's really awesome, like I said before. And you did say that during your marathon experience, so you did save the company $12,000. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so at Marathon Petroleum, like I said, I was an instrumentation and electrical engineering intern. And so when I saved the $12,000, that was in reference to control valves. So I was in charge of really collecting inventory of all our control valves in our boneyard, which is like an area of the plant where nobody goes to. And I actually realized when I was out there that there was a lot of equipment that still needed to be repaired and could actually be reused. And so because I went out there, I took the initiative to go out there, collect all the inventory, really pull the old spreadsheets of what exactly equipment we ordered. We were actually able to get that equipment refurbished and reinstalled into the plant. So instead of buying like a brand new control valve, we just used the old ones, refurbish them, and we're able to use that as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good experience. All right. So could you please tell me what are the 3 strengths that your coworker described about you, and do you agree with them?
3 strengths my coworkers would describe
About
that I
you.
have,
And do you agree with them?
and would I agree with them? In strengths only.
Strengths.
Okay. I think one strength would be like, I don't know if I could word this properly, but I care a lot, right? Like I'll sacrifice my time, I'll sacrifice my sleep if it's for a cause that I really care about, and sometimes I will neglect my own kind of things just to make sure that I'm helping push towards a goal that's greater or will help somebody else that I really care about. So I think that's one strength that people would say about me that I do agree. I think another strength is, I guess, analytical, right? Sometimes I can be a little harsh, right? And that's because I'm analytical, and whenever I'm working with somebody, I want what they're doing to be successful. So I will analyze the situation, I will find exactly all the flaws, and I'll let you know, here's why what you're doing won't work, right? And you know, sometimes it might come off a little harsh, but it's because, like I said earlier, I care, and I want to make sure that whoever I'm working with, right, their work is the highest quality that it can be. And I guess a last strength, I think it would be organizational skills. I'm a person that's like structured. Like, I came to this interview 15 minutes early. I'm like that with all my classes, with everything, right? And so I'm somebody that's dependable, and that if you need me to do something, regardless, I'll find a way to make it happen. And if I can't make it happen, I'll let you know 2 days or 24 hours business notice that I cannot make that happen. So I would say, what did I say? I care a lot, I'm dependable, and I forgot the last one, but you got it right.
It was a good wrap up. Thank you very much. All right. So, could you please tell me what is one of your weaknesses that you think might hinder you from doing the role as a hardware engineer?
I think, I think one of my weaknesses is that I'm an introvert, right? When I'm working, a lot of times I'll only get to know the people I work with and only get to know my cross-functional partners, and I really won't take that initiative to get to know people in other parts of the organization or people that I wouldn't normally talk to. So like, I know this is a weakness, and it's been a weakness for a while. So last summer, I took the initiative to, okay, I have 12 weeks of this internship. For 2 days in each week, I'm gonna meet with somebody random in the company that doesn't have to do anything with my role, right? So I set coffee chats with different people. I got to know about their story, got to know about how they got into the company. And again, I really got to know more about the different things that the company does. And after those 12 weeks, I realized that I can get along with a lot of people, right? I have a personality that if I put myself out there, I can meet a lot of people, but also I learned that, one second, let me think.
Sure, take your time.
Also, I learned that that company environment, because I took that initiative to meet more people, it started to feel like family. So work became a lot easier because I wasn't just going to do my job, I'm going to meet people that are like my family, people that I can just talk to about random things and not just focus on work. And I say like, that's still my weakness because I know that if I don't like keep it top of mind, I'm gonna go back to my introvert ways. So yeah, that's definitely my weakness, is being that introvert.
Awesome. Great answer. Thank you very much. All right. So please tell me about a time that you could not complete a difficult task and your supervisor expect you to meet a strict deadline.
A time when I could not complete a difficult task.
But your supervisor expect you to meet a strict deadline.
I might not be able to tell you about a time when I couldn't complete a task and my supervisor expected me to meet a deadline, but I can tell you about like a time when I felt that I failed and failed somebody else. Is that all right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So, a couple years ago, I was career fair chair for NESB, right? And it's my job to organize different information sessions with different companies. So, in the beginning of the school year, there's a lot of things going on with career fair, info sessions, things like that. And I had actually scheduled an info session with a company called like Daikin. And the info session was good, right? Everything was fine. But what happened was that one of the days in the semester, our general body meeting, there was a thunderstorm. So we had to reschedule that meeting, and the only date we could reschedule it was the date of my info session, right? And so because this happened, my initial thought was just, let me just not say anything to the company, let me just make both events happen, we'll have them both at the same time, and just leave it as is, right? Let's not say anything and let's let them know that no problem is happening. I wasn't really vulnerable. So, right, date comes, general body meeting is amazing. We probably had like 150 people in attendance in the little hall that we were in. But actually that info session, there was like 8 people in attendance. And that company was really mad because they spent their time, they spent their energy, they drove down here, right? They paid for pizza and they got 8 people in attendance, right? 8 people for 8 boxes of pizza, so each person got a box of pizza, right? So, like, that was the time I failed because, you know, I should have communicated with them that, hey, this is the issue that's happening. What do you think we should do, right? I should have been a little bit more vulnerable, but I didn't do that just because of pride, right? And so if I was to go back and do that situation again, the minute I realized that GBM rained out and we had to reschedule it, I would have just picked up the phone and called that company instead of just trying to make everything happen perfectly and not let anybody know.
Wait a second, since you're typing a little bit.
Nah, no worries. Take your time.
Thank you. All right. Could you please tell me a situation where you have to go above and beyond from your ability?
Situation where I went above and beyond. Give me a couple minutes. Okay, I think I have an example. Okay. So, when I was career fair chair for the National Society of Black Engineers, actually we had just executed our career fair. Everything went well, but actually I had the opportunity to take a co-op. And so a co-op is when you take a semester off school. And to be honest, I was hesitant to take it because, you know, I signed up for a job to do my job for a year-long kind of duration, but, you know, I didn't want to leave my team, right? So I ended up taking it. I ended up being in Louisiana for a year. But even though I was away from school, I still took the initiative to be involved with my committee and my team, right? Even though I was in Louisiana, I still ordered the shirts for the career fair, worked to get the design approved by UH Branding, and even when the vendor was looking for a place to drop off on campus, I was on the phone with him in Louisiana, telling him exactly where he needs to drive, where he needs to drop things off. And I also, attended every meeting, even though I was virtual in Louisiana, right? So that was an example of a time where I didn't have to, but because I felt I made a commitment to my team, and because I felt like I still wanted to be involved, even though I couldn't necessarily be there, I took that initiative to still be there. And so, as far as the results, when I came back, I actually drove back from Louisiana to Houston to attend our wrap-up meeting. And our director told us that I was the most involved person ever while being on a co-op, and that, really impressed her. And also, what I was most happy about was that, my team was successful. So even though I wasn't there, even though I may not have been there to give them the exact direction they needed, right, they communicated with me and I communicated with them enough to make sure we could still execute. And the fact that they did all of that and they didn't sign up for that job, and that meant a lot to me. So, yeah.
All right. So we have one last behavioral questions. Tell me about a time that you have a conflict with a team member in a group or a group on a project. Describe the situation and how did you solve it?
So, last year I was working on an electronics project, and basically our team was tasked with designing an audio amplifier, right? So we have to do everything from buying the parts, determining what parts we want, constructing it on the breadboard, and everything like that. And our team lead, for me, right, I kind of felt like he was micromanaging in a way, right? I felt like I couldn't really do what I wanted to do, and he was kind of always there, breathing behind my back, asking me what are you doing? Is this a part of what we discussed? Things like that. And not only did I notice that, but my team noticed that. So what I did was, I took the initiative to really look at things from his perspective, right? It seemed like he's not just micromanaging for any reason. He's probably micromanaging because we just haven't built that trust yet. And so because I noticed that, I took the kind of initiative to give him a little bit more frequent updates. So whenever he would ask me what's going on, I would tell him where I've been, I would tell him what I'm doing, what I'm gonna do, and then after that, what I'm gonna do after that, right? And so by giving him so much detail, right, it started to get to a point where now he kind of trusts me. So now he knows that Michael has his stuff together, he doesn't have to worry about Michael. And whenever I figured out, right, that was that working style that worked with him, I told that to my other teammates so they could adjust, right, to that working style. But as a result, right, we did extremely well on the project. My teammates, or we became more of a team, and there wasn't that tension that there was before, and we actually ended up getting an A on that project, right? My relationship is still good with that teammate today, but what I really learned from that situation is basically to like assume positive intent, right? Don't think that somebody's just micromanaging because they hate you or they don't trust you. Maybe they've had situations in the past where they felt they can't trust somebody. So be that person to be adjustable and agile and be able to adjust to the situation. But if I was to go back and do everything again, what I would have done is really create a plan for every role, right, within the team, right? We had our goals for what we wanted to achieve, but we didn't really have like, what do they call it, like smart goals as far as like what exactly each member on the team is supposed to do. And if we had done that, maybe it would have been an easier situation in the beginning.
Great. Thank you very much. I love that. So now let's move on to technical questions. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Could you please describe an electrical system on a headphone?
The electrical system on a headphone?
Of a headphone.
Of a headphone. So, what kind of headphone is it? Is it a wired headphone? Is it a Bluetooth headphone, or like?
I would say it's wireless.
Wireless headphone?
Yeah, so it's Bluetooth headphone. So they are.
So you want me to describe the electrical system of a headphone?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a specific, is it a Microsoft headphone? Like,
It could be a Microsoft headphone.
okay.
We do have great products here.
Okay. So, I'm not an expert on headphones, but if I was to guess what's in a headphone, the first thing I would think is there's a power supply, right? So there's some type of power inside that headphone that's allowing it to be charged. So there's a positive and then there's a negative wire, and there's a ground wire as well, right? In addition to that power, there's probably capacitors within that headphone as well, right? And the reason there's capacitors is because what capacitors do is they take the ripple out of a sound wave, right? And so the smooth sound that you hear in the headphone, the reason why it's smooth is because there's capacitors within that headphone. Other than that, I'm assuming that power is wired to speakers, right? And those speakers are how you hear the music, right? So maybe they're Beat speakers or maybe Microsoft speakers as well. But yeah, that speaker is wired up to power and ground as well. And I'm assuming, right, within a system like that, like power and everything, it can't exist without cooling. So I'm assuming there's some type of cooling fan or some type of cooling that allows the headphones to still remain cool while you have it on your ear. And yeah, I think that's how I would describe the power system within a headphone.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, I have one more technical question for you, and feel free to ask me this question again. So I'm not gonna go very slow with you.
Mm-hmm.
So in that situation where we have 8 balls of exact same size and appearance, one of them has a slightly different weight than the others. How can you find a special ball only using a balance scale and only 2 times?
Okay. So you have 8 balls or 8 bowls?
8 balls.
Okay, 8 balls. Each ball weighs different types?
No, they 7 of them weigh the same.
7 of them weigh the same?
They have the same size, they all have the same size and the same appearance. Only one of them is has a different weight.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a balance scale.
Mm-hmm.
With only 2 times, how can you find the ball that is special?
So I have a balance scale, like I have 2 sides?
You have 2 sides.
Okay. So 8 balls. So what I'm thinking, so you have 2 tries. So I'm thinking, and this is not my final answer, but I'm thinking out loud. I'm thinking that you have 8 balls, you split them into 2. So I think you have 4 and 4 on each side. And I think you place both of those on the balance, right? And so the idea is that one of those balls, or one side will droop more than the other. The one that falls down has the ball that, is the one ball that's different heavier or lighter?
Let's say they are heavier.
Okay, so the side where the balance goes down, that's the side that I know there's a ball there, right? Okay, so let's say one side drops down. I now know that these 4, I can throw them out. So those 4, they're no longer, we all know that they weigh the same. So now I have 4 balls, and I have one more chance on the scale.
Right.
So I'm thinking that I split those again, right down the middle, 2 and 2. Right? I put them both on each side. One side is gonna drop down, and then that's the side I pick.
Yeah.
Now there's 2 balls, and you said I can only pick one.
Yeah.
Right. Now you have a 50% chance of being right. Other than that, I'm not sure how else I would solve it.
Thank you very much. All right, so this is the end of the interview. So yeah, one quick question. So what makes you think that you're the best fit for the role, and why Microsoft?
What makes me think I'm the best fit for the role and why Microsoft? I think one of the reasons why I think I'm the best fit for the role is my experience, right? I've had a lot of different experiences from a variety of different industries. I've done really traditional electrical engineering work in plants and refineries, and I know how to work and talk with people that implement, right, electronics, right? I know how to talk with technicians, operators, and things like that. And a lot of times as a hardware engineer, you're gonna be working with those people whenever your equipment fails. And so I think that makes me a little bit, it makes me a little bit more suited, right, to be in that position. So that's like on the technical side of things. On the other side of things, right, the more commercial business side, I've had that experience as well, right? So I've run programs, I've worked on projects, and I've been a project manager and things like that. And so what that does is, as an engineer, I can now see big picture, right? So I can see how what I'm working on impacts the business, and I can also better determine, right, what are the most important things to focus on, right? I can prioritize better because I've worked on big picture projects and things like that. So that would be why I think I'm the best fit for this role. And actually, my leadership experience as well, right? I think, sometimes leadership experience is undervalued, right? But I think being a part of NSB the past 4 years, working with a ton of different people with different backgrounds, being a part of the career fair committee, working with people from SHIP or SHEP, NSB, SWE, it's really taught me how to work in a diverse environment, right? And I think it's really made me the type of person that's a chameleon, right? So I can kind of blend into whatever environment I'm part of. So that's it on like the fit for the role. But I think as far as like why Microsoft, aside from like the position and why I want the position, I think it's Microsoft's mission, right? I talked about NSB earlier, and one of the things that I said was really important to me was mentorship, right? I've had 5 mentees over the past couple years, and seeing them succeed has probably been the why right behind what I do. Has probably been like why I go to class and why I can pay attention in class, because I know I'm helping somebody better their life, and I know I'm making an impact, right? And so going with that, I'm looking for a company that shares those kind of values, and I know Microsoft's vision or mission is to empower every individual in the planet, every individual on the planet to achieve more, right? And I think that's literally like aligned with what drives me and what makes me kind of wake up every morning. So with that side, I think another big thing is diversity and inclusion, right? I talked about SHEP, I talked about SWE, I talked about NSB, and these are organizations that have transformed my life, right? Being a part of NSB, I've grown so much as an individual, right? I've been a mentee, and now, right, it comes full circle and I'm a mentor. And I'm looking for a company that really values those kind of things, right? Microsoft has always been a huge supporter of NSB, SHEP, and SWE, and I'm looking for a company that places value in the same things that I value. And I think that's kind of one of the major things that makes me want to work for Microsoft. And I think lastly is, I mean, Microsoft has cool products. I mean, who doesn't want to work on the Xbox? Who doesn't want to work on Microsoft Surface and things like that, right? It makes a world of a difference to work on a product that people use and that you know impact a lot of people's lives. So I think like just the scale of the things you work on, I think like that's definitely why I want to work for Microsoft.
All right, thank you very much. You have completed the interview. So, do you have any questions for us?
Yes. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, what do you do at Microsoft?
Yes.
Yeah.
So assume I answer that.
Okay, assume you answer that? Okay.
Yes, I didn't You probably asked me about Williams.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I guess another question I had is like, you know, I know some companies like they value specialists, other companies value people that are general and touch a lot of different things. What would you think that Microsoft values more, and what career path would you say you chose?
Great. Assume my answer as well.
I guess, you know, I know Microsoft is big on mentorship, is big on growth mindset, right? So, you know, coming in as a new hire, what kind of mentorship opportunities does Microsoft give, right? How does Microsoft ensure they're developing their new pipeline of talent? Assume you answer that?
He answered it.
All right, well, when can I expect to hear back?
Sure.
Assume you answer that? And then can we connect on LinkedIn?
Oh yeah, for sure. My LinkedIn is Wayne Paul.
Okay.
You can find me there too.
All right, but that's everything I had.
All right, Mr. Michael, thank you very much for your interview today.
Nice talking with you.
Really enjoyed your conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you.